public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. But that doesn't mean that his work is always appreciated. Sometimes it's quite the opposite. As when the public defender's office defended a man named Murphy, charged with assault with intent to commit murder. He lived near Pine Rocks, a mountain area, generally a peaceful place, except for that day when the deer hunting season opened.
All right, get out of here.
Well, hello, Mr. Murphy.
No hunting on this property. It's posted. Signs all over the place. Didn't you see them?
Sure, but...
Then what's the matter? Can't you read?
Well, Mr. Murphy, these are friends of ours. They're from the city.
Yeah. Woke me up this morning. Sounds like the Battle of Bunker Hill. I don't trust greenhorns with guns. Last opening day, some city dude shot my cow.
Well, look, we're all members of the Hunter Farmers Cooperative. We'll be responsible for any damage. Besides, we'll pay you a fee for letting us hunt.
I don't want any fee. All the game on this property belongs to me.
Mr. Murphy, that's a moot question. The authorities seem to think the game belongs to the public. That's why the state sends out wardens to regulate and protect wildlife.
Wildlife eats my grain, don't they? Tramples my gardens, drinks my water. All the game on this property belongs to me.
How come we have to buy a hunter's license, then?
Oh, look, let's cool down, shall we? Look, Mr. Murphy, is it okay if we unload our guns if we cross over to Jawbone Canyon? That's not your property, is it?
You can go around by the road.
It's 4 miles around that way.
Then stand on the highway and shoot into the bushes the way the rest of the greenhorns do. I don't need a license to shoot on my property, deer or trespassers.
Come on, fellas, let's get out of here.
Hunters, deer hunters.
Hey, Bill, what gives here? I thought your stepfather picked up the bank foreclosure on this property.
He did.
Well, it's not Murphy's property at all.
That's right. He's a hard one to convince, and that wasn't the time to try, looking down the barrel of that 30-30. Come on, let's beat our way up this draw. Maybe we can circle around him.
Where is he?
Oh, hello, Mr. Murphy.
Where's your father? He ain't in the store.
Well, Father's back at the cabin. Why?
Hi, honey.
Fine help with the dishes you are. That's no excuse.
I had to help Harry celebrate. He got a beautiful buck. Did you see it outside?
Uh-huh.
What's that?
No.
How's Dad?
All right. Why wouldn't he be? He's drying your dishes, in fact.
Well, I took care of something for him today that he should have done 6 months ago, so we're even.
Bill, what are you talking about? Is something wrong?
No, just something legal. I had old man Murphy served with an eviction notice.
Eviction notice?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dora, how about a game of cards?
All right. Where's Emily? I thought this was deer season.
It's a midget deer. Meet Mr. B.J. Eubanks, taxidermist extraordinary.
No, we don't want any. We've got enough horns hanging all over the mantel already.
Honey, did Dad hear from old man Murphy?
What?
Madam, my work is admired all over the state. When people see my rattlesnakes, they jump a mile.
Yes, I'm sure, Mr. Eubanks. Oh, I didn't mean to offend you. But my husband, well, he has more trophies than the Smithsonian Institute.
And when I offer this beautiful gray fox for only $25, I'm sure you'll snap at the chance. Don't play with his tail, please, sir. Now, this beautiful object will be the cynosure of all eyes, if only when you take it home, for instance.
I'll buy a bottle, Doctor. Didn't know the celebration was over here. Thought it was in your cabin. I never heard such a racket.
What do you mean? There's no one there but Dad, and he's washing the dishes.
Washing dishes? He's throwing them and yelling his head off at somebody.
Murphy.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't worry about your dad. He's holding his own.
Let go of me. Let go of me, you slimy bullcat. Go on now. Get away from me. Get out of here. Go on. Get here, you dirty. You go on, you. Get out.
Father! Father!
Oh. Lundquist, I should have killed you the day you set fire to my pasture land. You stole my Angus bull. And what about that fence? That fence you tore down?
Father, stop it.
Stole him, I said. A whole quarter-mile of fence. Cut it out.
Two men your age, fighting like babies. What's the matter with you?
Take it easy, Dora. He just tripped, that's all. Well, come in here yelling like a banshee, and I'll show you what.
Father, please.
Take your hands off me, Sonny. Someday your ammunition will blow up and bust you.
All right, Murphy. You came over here because you saw about that eviction notice on your land.
Bill, what is all this notice he's yelling about? I used to have a fence there. Now all my calves keep getting out. And you go stealing from me. Oh, for Pete's sake!
Bill, wait. Mr. Murphy, that fence was down years and years ago.
Yes.
No one's trying to steal your land. It just isn't yours anymore. You don't even have cattle anymore. Remember?
I used to have a lot of things till they kept stealing everything from me. Murphy! Maybe I got plans. You don't know. You and them city dudes. You don't know. Come back here, you old fool. But listen to me. I'm warning you. Anybody comes traipsing up there again, they better watch out. I'm warning you. He gets mixed up sometimes. Wonder if I'm getting that old, too.
Oh, of course not, Dad.
You forget it, Pop. I'll go down to the sheriff's office in the morning.
Well, Murphy always blamed me for his hard luck. I guess I blamed him for my bad luck, too. And with good reason. Bill, how important is them notices?
Pop, I'll explain it to you again. I helped you buy up that mortgaged land. But there he sits, right in the middle of it, with private property and no hunting signs posted all over it. Why, he ran me and my party off of that land this morning. Now, if you keep on being polite to him...
I ain't being soft. I hate that old goat.
Well, I know how he feels. Pretty much the same as you felt a while back when you almost lost your land. But we can't subdivide that area if he's going to sit right in the middle of it, pulling a 30-30 on every hunter that comes by, cutting off the water, starting a fight with everybody.
You say he chased you off of our land with a 30-30?
That's right. But don't you go getting hot under the collar about it. You let me handle it.
All right, Bill. You handle it. Maybe you know best.
That next day, old Mr. Lundquist decided to take matters in his own hands.
Fred. Down the barrel about 30 seconds.
Well, there you are. Afternoon, Mr. Murphy.
Hello, Deputy. What brings you here?
Something's happened. Mind if I take a look at your rifle?
Don't own one.
Game warden says you do.
Cigar rifles. Threw it away.
A couple other parties from town by here this morning. They saw you walking away from your cabin with the rifle about 9 o'clock.
I've been having trouble with bobcats. Bobcat got into my chickens the other night.
Where is your rifle, Mr. Murphy?
None of your business. Leave me alone.
You walked down the canyon south of here, then through the woods.
No, it ain't true.
Somebody else saw you running away from there.
It's a lie. Ain't left the house all day.
And I guess this isn't Joe Bandana.
Of course not. I didn't shoot Fred Lundquist.
And then how do you know he was shot? You haven't been out of the house. You haven't got a phone.
Is he dead?
He was still alive when they took him off to the hospital.
Thanks. I've just been sitting here going through some of my things. Oh, well. All right. I'm through with this place anyway. Let's go down to your jail.
The case against Murphy was circumstantial, but still it was going to be a difficult case to handle, especially if Lundquist testified against him.
But, Dad, he's guilty. You know he's guilty.
He's just confused, that's all. He's getting old.
Well, he wasn't confused when he threatened to kill you. I don't mean just this time. I mean all the other times. That's what we want you to tell about.
He hit me once with a cross-cut saw. I still got the mark on my legs, but I never brought no charge against him.
You wouldn't.
Couldn't very well. I hit him first with an axe handle.
Oh, Dad.
Dora, I'm sorry you've been so upset. And Bill, and all the nice people you brought up there.
Dad, don't you understand? The reason we want you to testify is because he just has to be put away somewhere. It isn't just a fight anymore. He tried to murder you.
Well, I guess that's just what I can't get through my head. Guess he always figured the world was right and he was wrong.
You said that a little backwards, didn't you?
No. Just too bad he couldn't have been right for once and the world wrong, that's all. But go on. Tell him I'll testify enough to swing that crazy old bird up to a telegraph pole. And he ought to be.
1 to 14 years, Mr. Murphy. That's the sentence that can be imposed on you.
14 years was about handled for me. 64 last December.
Maybe that's what you'll get if you don't help me defend you.
So Lundquist is going to say things against me, too, eh? I should have wrung his neck years ago.
What's that?
None of your business. Only, say, Did I tell you I went out that morning to shoot a bobcat? That might be some help for you.
That might, but I don't think so.
Huh?
I understand you're a good shot.
You're blame right I am.
So that if you'd been aiming at an animal instead of a man, you would have hit him just as easily. There would have been something to show for it.
Well?
I had the warden comb the area you said you were in that morning. There was no sign of a bobcat, dead or alive.
No. No, I guess there wouldn't be.
I'm afraid we'll have to do better than that.
All right, then. Say I'm guilty. Get it over with.
You mean that?
Maybe I was just too stubborn to admit it. And I'm not crazy either. I'm sorry you've been so much trouble to you, young man. I plead guilty.
No, I can't let you do it.
Well, why not? 1 to 14 years. What do I care? I did it. I killed him. Now get out of here and leave me alone.
Mr. Murphy, the law says that if you plead guilty and Fred Lundquist should die within the next year, you could be tried all over again. Murder in the first degree. Possibly the gas chamber.
Oh. Well, I'm not so sure I did it.
Mr. Murphy, please give me something to go on.
All right. You don't know so much about the law. You handle it. Go on. Do the whole thing. You're my defense, aren't you? I'll not say another word.
The date of Murphy's trial was approaching, and I still had no defense for him. Mr. Ames, the game warden for that district, was very cooperative. Did you find anything, any evidence of bobcats?
No, and I did a lot of looking around. Every square foot of that hill.
Why, Murphy isn't a friend of yours.
Not so you'd notice it. In the old days, I hauled him in a half dozen times, mostly for shooting pheasant out of season, and with a rifle, which made it worse.
Pretty good shot.
One of the best.
Give me your honest opinion. Do you think that Murphy shot Lundquist?
It could have been an accident. Murphy's a stubborn old coot, but he's not bloodthirsty. And there's one thing he's been right about all the time.
What's that?
About that area not being good for open deer shooting. Too close in, too many people. You know, one day I checked 237 hunters out of one road. You know how many deer they got? 6. 237 men got 6 deer.
That isn't what you came here to tell me.
I found Murphy's rifle where he hid it that day. He'd thrown it down an old mine shaft. This gun of Murphy's had just 1 bullet fired. Now, they must have removed a bullet from Lundquist's body at the hospital. Wouldn't that prove something?
All our ballistics experts could prove whether it came from Murphy's gun or not. Except the bullet went clean through a fleshy part of Lundquist's body and was never found.
Oh.
Thanks anyway. Nice try. Lundquist testified at the trial, and when the case was given to the jury, he and his son-in-law left for Pine Rocks. The pheasant season had just opened, and all Bill's friends were there.
Well, what happened, Bill?
Well, the jury was still out when we left. Hear anything on the radio?
No.
Probably some old gal holding out for not guilty. Well, she'll see the light. They'll send him up all right.
The jury deliberated 4 hours. I waited. It was after dark when they returned with a verdict.
Hear ye, hear ye. This court is again in session. Everyone rise, please.
Judge Randolph had just about decided to send the jury to a hotel for the night when they announced they had arrived at a decision. The verdict came as quite a surprise. It was not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Well, how do you like that?
Can't believe it.
Well, if it's true, it's not going to set so well with a lot of people up here. How do you like that?
I just can't believe it. What are we going to do now?
I don't know. But I don't want to be caught in the middle. All I tried to do was help your dad to make something of this place. Make a little money.
You've done a swell job of it up till now. But the real work is just starting. What's going to happen when Murphy comes back?
I don't know. Of all the stupid things for 2 intelligent, sane people to worry about, a couple of old men feuding like hillbillies. Well, maybe he won't come back after what's happened.
You don't know him, and you don't know Dad. Don't you understand? Murphy's been found innocent. He's a free man with a persecution complex. They've just opened up the door to a real killing.
Where's Dad?
He just came in and went to his room without a word.
Mr. Bowling. Bill.
Hello, Mr. Ames.
Evening, ma'am. I want to see your father. Hurry.
Oh, he's resting.
He's already heard the news.
Well, there's something else. I've been talking to the sheriff's office. Look, I have to see him right now.
Dad? Dad?
The sheriff's office.
Say, that verdict wasn't very popular with your city friends either, was it? I know. I don't blame you. The men in the store are getting all excited, but maybe it is justice.
Bill, he's gone. I guess he went out the back way.
Well, I've got to stick around and wait anyway. Only maybe you better know that Murphy's taken a bus from town already.
What?
Sheriff's deputy left the courtroom with him just to keep an eye on things, but he lost him when the bus stopped at the service station. But I wouldn't worry about it. Mr. Matthews is on his way up here. You see, we might have something new on this.
Bill, we've got to find Father. I couldn't tell you in front of Ames. His gun's gone, too.
Uh-oh. Hiya, fellas. We've got a visitor. I'd like to introduce Mr. Bart Matthews, public defender.
Tell me, Warden, when's the season open on public defenders? I'd like to oil up my gun.
Harry. Harry, can I see you a minute?
Oh, sure, Bill.
Honey, you stay right here.
Anything we ought to know about Mrs. Bowling?
I think Father's out looking for Murphy.
Not guilty. Oh, and you called me a murderer?
Yes. I thought you was just a hot-headed old goat once, but there you are, look at you. Couldn't stand it because I had good luck for a change. Maybe I should have killed you in the days when you were making a few dollars.
Ah, shut up.
Here,
Give me that gun. Get out there, you.
All right, drop it, Murphy.
You people don't belong here. Clear up.
Give me that thing, don't you?
It's all right. Nobody's hurt.
I'll take that gun, Bill. All right, the hunting season's over for both of you fellows. I want you to listen to Mr. Matthews.
Mr. Lundquist, Mr. Murphy didn't shoot you. He didn't even shoot at you. It was a hunting accident.
I wasn't sure. It was a long range, and then I found Fred. I never had a shooting accident in my life. But my eyes ain't what they used to be.
Mr. Murphy, you were the only man on the field that day who couldn't have done it.
Huh?
There was only one shot fired from your gun. And Mr. Eubanks will testify that you hit your bobcat.
Because he found it, skinned it out, and mounted it. Fortunately, he found a bullet in the skull.
One bullet right between the eyes.
You hear that?
And our ballistics expert says that the bullet came from Mr. Murphy's gun. So you see, when the evidence is all in, the jury is usually right.
I don't know how to thank you, Mr. Matthews. You've certainly taught me a lesson.
Yes, I've learned a lesson, too. And I'm willing to pay for it. Come on, let's all go down to the store and have a nice cold drink on me.
Come on, Dad.
I'll be along in a minute. Don't worry. Maybe I've learned a thing or two myself.
Those interference city dudes spoiled everything. I come back here tonight to beat your ears off.
All right. And I come up here tonight to get rid of this.
You mean you're not going to throw me off my place?
I ain't no fool. If you left here, I wouldn't have nobody to fight with.
That's right. And that's why I didn't shoot you. I tell you what. We both got a few years left. Why don't we let your kids sell off all this stuff around here, but keep this little cabin?
Yeah. Just you and me. Then we can fight all we want to.
That's it. And there'll be nobody butting in and spoiling our fun.
Mr. Matthews, I still don't understand. Father was shot. Who did it?
Do you have any idea, Mr. Matthews?
How many of you were out deer hunting that day?
All of us here were.
Too many.
Well, perhaps Warden Ames can explain it better than I can. Warden?
Take your group here and multiply it by 100. Then think it over. Do you know how far a bullet can carry? Do you know what happens in these places close to town with parties in brand new red caps shooting at sounds in the brush and trees and anything that moves? Does that answer your question?
Maybe we'll never know who fired that shot. Could have been one of us.
Out of all this, there was another good result. At least a few hunters were taught what every good hunter should know, that indiscriminate or careless shooting can hurt more humans than animals. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. Tonight, Philip Morris salutes Public Defender John T. Kenwood, Sutter County, Yuba City, California, and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice. public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. They say truth is stranger than fiction. This was never better demonstrated than in the case of Renee Marchand, a 15-year-old girl charged with the shooting of a notorious gangland figure. I was assigned to the case by the Superior Court and ordered to contact Lieutenant Ken Davis at General Hospital. Renee's mother had also been shot, and since her condition was serious, Renee was being kept nearby. Mrs. Marchand West?
In a coma. The doc says she's entering the crisis. I wanted you around in case she talked. Might mean something to your client.
Any idea who shot her?
Sure, but I can't prove it. That's up to you.
What do you mean?
The kid may be able to give you the answers, if you can get her to talk.
Still won't talk to the police.
Seems in some sort of a trance. Maybe you'll have better luck.
Hello, Renee.
Is she dead?
Your mother's still alive, Renee.
Nous serons toujours ensemble.
What did you say?
It means always we will be together. My mother, my father, and I've always remembered it when there's trouble.
Why don't you tell me what happened? I must know the truth before I can help you.
Will the truth make my mother well again? Bring my father back to us?
The truth has performed many miracles.
Where should I start?
From the beginning.
Well, I guess that would be back in France in 1940, before I was born. My mother was one of the thousands who fled Paris before the fall of France. It was just outside of Chartres that she said goodbye to my father.
Every expression, all of your loveliness I must remember for so long.
Oh, please, Charles, let me stay with you.
I want you to go to America where there is peace and safety.
But there will be no happiness without you.
We have so much more than ourselves to think of now. And I feel better knowing George is there to look after you and the baby. Nothing can separate us, my darling. Always we will be together, remember that.
Oh, I won't forget.
I've made arrangements for the farmer to take you and George to Bordeaux. From then, both of you have passage arranged to New York.
George! Lord, I thought you two would never finish your goodbyes. Your sergeant is becoming very impatient. He says your company is to move up in 10 minutes.
I'll be right there. George, take good care of Colette and the baby.
Of course, they will be like my own.
You have to write the War Office if there is any change in your address in America.
There will be no change. My restaurant is very small. That will furnish us a living until you are away. No, I'll wait outside. But hurry!
All right, George, all right. Promise me one thing. When the baby is born, name her Renee.
There are also boy babies.
Not for us. We are going to have a daughter, and I want her to be as happy as you have made me. Come on, darling.
And as the years of war continued, Charles and Colette sought to remain near one another by means of letters. Then in 1945, just before victory, the letters from Charles ceased. But Colette never gave up, even when it became obvious to everyone else that Charles would never come back.
Voilà. Everything all right. That's right. Colette, where have you been? I was beginning to worry. You are an hour late.
I'm sorry, Georges, but I wanted to see Monsieur Dubois.
So you went back to the French embassy again. Sherry, you must face reality. Stop torturing yourself.
But something could have happened. Charlotte could still be alive.
Oh, but it has been so many years.
Then you would have me admit my life is over?
No, there is your daughter, Renee. She is your life now. You must live for her.
Uncle Georges, always worrying about us, always caring for us. Oh, such a burden Renee and I have been to you.
I will not listen to such nonsense. I know, we have customers. Show them what great entertainment can come out of a small restaurant. Huh? I am sorry, Monsieur Harrison. We're forced to close early tonight. My stove doesn't work.
I didn't come here to eat.
But, right, I tell her you were here. Sherry.
Good evening, Mr. Harrison.
How many times have I got to tell you the name's Judd? Come over here and sit down. Got some great news for you, Colette.
What do you mean?
I just bought the Calcutta Club. You're going to sing there, maybe become a big star. How does that sound?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh,
but...
you're always sorry and you always say no. This time I'm not listening. Here's your first week's salary.
But Mr. Harrison, Judd, this is so much. I mean, I'm not really a professional singer. Why do you want me?
When you go home, look in the mirror. You'll see for yourself. See you later.
As Judd Harrison had predicted, Colette Marchand became a star. Her talent and beauty were contributing factors. But the main reason for her success was a driving ambition to see that her daughter Renee had everything she needed to make her happy.
You tell Jenkins that wire service stays the way it is. It's taken us 5 years to set up book in that territory. No DA's gonna scare us out. Sure, I'll take care of it. Don't I always?
Hello, Talon. 3 years, not a bad martini. How'd the show go tonight?
Everybody stayed through it.
Good. How about running out to Hunter's Inn for a bite after we close?
Sorry, not tonight. I'm picking Renee up early from school. She's spending a few days with me before going to camp.
Summer camp. Apartment in the city. Exclusive school. Sounds like a mother's a success.
Don't make fun of me, Judd.
I'm not making fun. You are a success. You could be a bigger one if you wanted to.
What do you mean?
You could be Mrs. Judd Harrison.
Sorry. The answer is the same.
Colette, Renee's a young lady, and someday soon she's going to have a life of her own. What'll that leave you?
Her respect.
Still haven't told her about me, huh?
She knows I sing at the Calcutta Club. There's no reason for her to know more.
You're a funny kid. You work your heart out for that daughter of yours. Stay in love with a guy that's been dead 15 years. When are you going to start thinking of yourself?
I'm doing all right.
Someday you'll lose those looks, and then...
Maybe I'll go back to waiting on tables.
And maybe you'll change your mind about being Mrs. Judd Harrison. One thing is sure. No other man will ever step in. You can be sure of that.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. Maybe I can go. I'll call you back, Ricky. Bye. Oh, Mother, you look just beautiful.
Why, thank you for those nice words. You may zip me up.
Oh, that was Ricky Carson on the phone.
For 40 minutes, I gathered that much.
His fraternity is having a party on his father's boat. They want me to come.
Georges? Georges, it's only 8 o'clock.
Oh, Colette, I must speak to you. It's something of great importance.
Well, certainly. Ernie, go get my wrap.
Colette, I met someone. He wants me to give you a message. Nous serons toujours ensemble.
Always. We will be together.
Remember that day, Colette.
I was just serving a customer when he walked in. It was like a miracle. I shooed the customers out and locked up the place and brought Charles to you. You're not listening to me. In fact, you don't even know I'm alive. C'est bon.
Oh, we waited. We waited so long.
The last days of the war, I was captured. I've been badly wounded. For months, I knew nothing. Then I found myself back in France wandering about. Colette. All these years, until a month ago, I didn't even know my own name.
But why didn't you wire? Let me know you were alive.
I was afraid. Perhaps you had married again. I had to see George first to find out.
Father.
Ma petite. The baby whom I have never seen now is a young woman.
You are just like your pictures.
A little older, perhaps, but so much happier. And for the three of us, the rest of our lives shall be happiness. I promise you that.
"15 years. Now he returns. Crazy, isn't it?
Wonderful would be a better word.
After all those years, you're still in love with him?
Charlie's my husband. He, Renee, and I can be a family again.
What about me? What happens to me? Do you realize I love you, too?
Never tried to encourage you, Judd.
Well, I'm just supposed to forget the whole thing, huh?
Well, I'm afraid there's no alternative. Good night, Judd.
None for you, perhaps.
What do you mean?
Todd, we made a bargain. I fixed it so your daughter could have the best of everything.
Well, all I have is the furniture, some clothes. I'll sell them. I'll pay you back.
No deal.
That's the best I can do. I'll stay until you get someone else for the show.
The show's not important. Look, baby, you're mine. I got a priority on you. Just because I treat you like you're made of glass, don't get any big ideas. The name is still Judd Harrison.
You mean you would force me to stay?
Maybe I'm just getting a little sentimental. But you got a husband and a daughter. You try to leave me and your whole world will come tumbling down. Oh, just thinking about that ought to make you a little sentimental, too.
So sorry, Charlotte, to be this late.
It's nearly morning.
A nightclub singer does not lead a normal life.
Well, anyway, Renee and I had a good visit. She told me all about you.
Told you what?
About your job, how hard you have worked. Is there more?
I'm afraid we've started off badly. Let's try again.
It's my fault, Colette. But the past few hours seemed like an eternity.
It's been the same with me.
But it gave me a chance to get to know Renee. Oh, you have done a good job. She's everything I had hoped for.
I'm glad.
She has taught me much about America. Hamburgers, French fries, malted milks.
America is a wonderful land, Charles. You'll see.
It has been good to you and Renee. That alone makes it wonderful to me. I only hope you won't find too difficult leaving it.
What do you mean?
I have a job waiting for me in Paris. We will have to make arrangements to return.
Return, Charles?
You don't seem very enthusiastic. Oh, chérie, you both will be happy there, just as happy as you have been in America.
Charles, life here has not always been as pleasant as you may think. When we first got here, Georges did the best he could, but his restaurant was small and business was very poor.
Renee told me.
But there are so many things she never knew. Charles, I wanted to give Renee a good life, see that she had everything to make her happy.
And I shall devote the rest of my life to make you happy.
But so much has happened to me.
But so much has happened to the whole world. Only the future is important to us.
Wonderful word, future.
It will be wonderful to us, now that we have each other. Nothing can stand in our way.
Oh! Oh, it has been many days since you were here. Did you get so Americanized that you forgot about French cuisine? Huh?
There has been much to do.
Oh, I know. A man has to make many preparations for taking his family back to France.
Who is Judd Harrison?
I believe Colette works for a man by that name.
That was only at the beginning. I have made inquiries.
What has Colette told you?
When I mentioned Judd Harrison's name, it is just the same when I mentioned returning to France. She changes the subject.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I can tell you.
George, lies I can get from home. From old friends, I expect the truth.
Perhaps it is better that you find out from me. All those years you were fighting, and I'm sure that you felt that in some small measure what you were doing was for your family. In a different way, what Colette has done was for the same purpose.
Stupid. I don't want to argue about it anymore.
So this is Mr. Harrison.
Now that we've been properly introduced, I got a suggestion for you, Mr. Marshall. Get out of here. Get out of Colette's life.
Colette's life is my life.
I'm afraid you're in for a big surprise. Don't you think so, honey? All right. But see that he's convinced. Because if you don't, I will.
Charles, I cannot go back to France with you.
I see.
No, you don't. I wish there was some way I could explain.
Georges has already explained, but he neglected to add that it was not just Renee's welfare that kept you here.
You better go.
What about Renee? You can't continue to hide your association with such a man.
I would not stand in your way if you wish to take her back to France with you.
You could not help yourself. Renee all but worships you.
Perhaps if she knew the truth.
It takes more than words to destroy such affection. I know that myself now.
Well, you're home. Colette, still worried about your husband?
It's too late to think of Charlotte now.
What is on your mind?
I was wondering how Renee will feel when she does know about us.
If that's what's worrying you, send her back to France with her father. I'll pay the way.
She would not go without me.
And that's too bad.
You sure you won't change your mind, Jed?
I told you once, Colette, you try to leave me and your whole world will come tumbling down. I'd walk this earth smooth to find you, your daughter, and your husband.
I don't intend to leave you, Jed. Where we're going, we go together.
You gone crazy?
Start the car and drive across Bay Bridge.
You better change the route. The Bay Bridge is only half finished.
I know.
Miss Marchand, I know that you don't feel like answering questions, but there are a few things I have to ask. Did your mother own a gun? We found a piece of cloth with the initials J.H. Does that mean anything to you? J.H. Does your mother know anyone with those initials? We also found in her handbag a letter addressed to George Benet, asking that he see that you be sent to France to be with your father if anything happened to her. Renee, was your mother expecting trouble? Would you like to go to the hospital with me? Be near your mother. Want to get ready?
Renee hadn't heard a word he said. All she could think of was Judd Harrison.
Oh, Renee. Wait a minute.
Then I went to the police, told them what I'd done. And I'm not sorry, Mr. Matthews. Because of that man, I'm all alone.
Renee, I understand there's someone in the next room who would like to see you.
Renee, she's going to be all right.
Father.
How did you find Marchand?
A friend of the family knew which plane he was taking. What did you learn from the girl?
That Harrison had it coming, in spades.
Sont toujours ensemble.
Hey, Bart, do you know what she said?
Yeah, sure.
What?
The most welcome words her family ever hoped to hear. See you in court, Ken.
Judd Harrison also recovered, but on subsequent investigation was found guilty of income tax evasion and sentenced to prison. As for Renee, extenuating circumstances and the fact that she was a juvenile played heavily in her favor. She was released into the custody of her parents on summary probation. All three are now back in France. No malted milk and hamburgers, perhaps, but the Marchands have found happiness. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. Tonight, Philip Morris salutes Public Defender Leonard A. Thomas, Marin County, San Rafael, California, and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice.
A peaceful place, except for that day when the deer hunting season opened.
All right, get out of here.
Well, hello, Mr. Murphy.
No hunting on this property. It's posted. Signs all over the place. Didn't you see them?
Sure, but...
Then what's the matter? Can't you read?
Well, Mr. Murphy, these are friends of ours. They're from the city.
Yeah. Woke me up this morning. Sounds like the Battle of Bunker Hill. I don't trust greenhorns with guns. Last opening day, some city dude shot my cow.
Well, look, we're all members of the Hunter Farmers Cooperative. We'll be responsible for any damage. Besides, we'll pay you a fee for letting us hunt.
I don't want any fee. All the game on this property belongs to me.
Mr. Murphy, that's a moot question. The authorities seem to think the game belongs to the public. That's why the state sends out wardens to regulate and protect wildlife.
Wildlife eats my grain, don't they? Tramples my gardens, drinks my water. All the game on this property belongs to me.
How come we have to buy a hunter's license, then?
Oh, look, let's cool down, shall we? Look, Mr. Murphy, is it okay if we unload our guns if we cross over to Jawbone Canyon? That's not your property, is it?
You can go around by the road.
It's 4 miles around that way.
Then stand on the highway and shoot into the bushes the way the rest of the greenhorns do. I don't need a license to shoot on my property, deer or trespassers.
Come on, fellas, let's get out of here.
Hunters, deer hunters.
Hey, Bill, what kid's here? I thought your stepfather picked up the bank foreclosure on this property.
He did.
Well, it's not Murphy's property at all.
That's right. He's a hard one to convince, and that wasn't the time to try. Looking down the barrel of that 30-30. Come on, let's beat our way up this draw. Maybe we can circle around him.
Where is he?
Oh, hello, Mr. Murphy.
Where's your father? He ain't in the store.
Well, Father's back at the cabin. Why?
Hi, honey.
Fine help with the dishes, you are. That's no excuse.
I had to help Harry celebrate. He got a beautiful buck. Did you see it outside?
Uh-huh.
What's that?
No.
How's Dad?
All right, why wouldn't he be? He's drying your dishes, in fact.
Well, I took care of something for him today that he should have done 6 months ago, so we're even.
Father! Father!
Oh! Lundquist, I should have killed you the day you set fire to my pasture land. You stole my Angus bull. And what about that fence? That fence you tore down?
Father, stop it.
Stole him, I said. A whole quarter-mile of fence. Cut it out.
Two men your age, fighting like babies. What's the matter with you?
Take it easy, Dora. He just tripped, that's all. Well, come in here yelling like a banshee, and I'll show you what.
Father, please.
Take your hands off me, Sonny. Someday your ammunition will blow up and bust you.
All right, Murphy. You came over here because you saw about that eviction notice on your land.
Bill, what is all this notice he's yelling about?
I used to have a fence there. Now all my calves keep getting out. And you go stealing from me.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Bill, wait. Mr. Murphy, that fence was down years and years ago.
Yes.
No one's trying to steal your land. It just isn't yours anymore. You don't even have cattle anymore. Remember?
I used to have a lot of things, so they kept stealing everything from me.
Murphy!
Maybe I got plans. You don't know. You and them city dudes. You don't know. Come back here, you old fool. But listen to me. I'm warning you. Anybody comes traipsing up there again, they better watch out. I'm warning you.
A public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. But that doesn't mean that his work is always appreciated. Sometimes it's quite the opposite. As when the public defender's office defended a man named Murphy, charged with assault with intent to commit murder. He lived near Pine Rocks, a mountain area. Generally...
Bill, what are you talking about? Is something wrong?
No, just something legal. I had old man Murphy served with an eviction notice.
Eviction notice?
Hey, Dora, how about a game of cards?
All right, where's Emily? I thought this was deer season.
It's a midget deer. Meet Mr. B.J. Eubanks, taxidermist extraordinary.
No, we don't want any. We've got enough horns hanging all over the mantel already.
Honey, did Dad hear from old man Murphy?
What?
Madam, my work is admired all over the state. When people see my rattlesnakes, they jump a mile.
Yes, I'm sure, Mr. Eubanks. Oh, I didn't mean to offend you. But my husband, well, he has more trophies than the Smithsonian Institute.
And when I offer this beautiful gray fox for only $25, I'm sure you'll snap at the chance. Don't play with his tail, please, sir. Now, this beautiful object will be the cynosure of all eyes, if only when you take it home, for instance.
I'll buy a bottle, Doctor. Didn't know the celebration was over here. Thought it was in your cabin. I never heard such a racket.
What do you mean? There's no one there but Dad, and he's washing the dishes.
Washing dishes? He's throwing them and yelling his head off at somebody.
Murphy.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't worry about your dad. He's holding his own.
Let go of me, you slimy bullcat. Go on, now, get away from me. Get out of here. Go on, get out of here, you dirty. Go on, you get out.